Hello, my Teaserking family. Now let's look at week 0 today. College starts. No real big games, just a bunch of Z teams. So we got Nevada, well, we don't know what they are this year, against Z team New Mexico State. We got Northwestern, a Z team against Nebraska. We got Connecticut, a Z team against Utah State. Wyoming and Illinois, 2 unders. Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, we got an over and an E. North Texas over against UTEP, who's an E. And Vanderbilt's a Z in SEC play against Hawaii, who should be an over. So my theory is usually to bet against the Z teams because they stink, and we like to bet against weakness. Well, let's look. What are the lines? And have they... I know some have moved yesterday. Nebraska 12, that stayed, and 50.5. Utah State 27 and 58.5. That moved down from 60, but I certainly expect Utah State to score a lot. Illinois, Wyoming, Illinois 13. It moved up a little. 44. That's kind of a low under, but I can see these teams are under teams that it would be low. Charlotte, Florida Atlantic 7.5, over under of 60. And let's see, UTEP, North Texas 1.5, 54.5. I had UTEP minus 14 in my pre-market, 1.5. It's probably stayed there, North Texas. And New Mexico State, Nevada went opened at 14 or so, and it's down to 8.5. I don't know who the hell would bet New Mexico State over under 48.5. And Hawaii, Vanderbilt's 9. That moved up from 6.5, over under 54.5. I hear a lot of these chuckleheads on, like, BetMGM has a radio station, and they make the stupidest thing. First of all, they don't explain anything. They want to use math as a way. Well, this is I got the line at 7.5. How the hell do you got the line at 7.5? I can make a line. These chuckleheads can't. And they're like, oh, well, I'm taking Oklahoma to win 10 games. How the hell can you make? I never make those type of bets because they're stupid. First of all, I don't know what's going to happen, especially to like Oklahoma or USC. UCLA, Utah, I got a better feel of. Alabama, Georgia probably will run the table. But to take like Michigan State over 8, who the hell knows? You don't know because you don't know the injuries. So to make a bet 3 months from now is insane. You've got injuries. You've got how good they are. I mean, a lot of these teams from last year, you have no clue. Are they any good? Are they bad? You don't know. So when we break down today's games, so Nevada 8.5, I don't know. New Mexico State, I don't know how anybody can bet them. Over under 48.5. I mean, well, you don't know. New Mexico State stinks. Well, I'm sure their defense still going to give up 40 points. As bad as Nevada can be. Yeah, they got a new coach and a new quarterback, but these quarterbacks are usually fairly good. Look at Van Dyke. He's sitting on 3rd string at Miami, and this guy's a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. No, that's what you don't know. No, I don't know who Nevada's quarterback is. So you're really betting on an unknown and to take New Mexico State because Nevada's got a new quarterback's insane because, New Mexico State's terrible. So you can't assume a Z team all of a sudden is going to turn into a B team or an A team or an over team. They got a terrible defense and they don't have a good offense. So as far as I know, they got a new coach. They got a new quarterback. No new coach is going to come in and say, boom, now Vince Lombardi came in, Bill Walsh came in. The first year they didn't do crap. The second year is when they started to get better, or the third year. They get their players in, they get their system in. You can't do it the first year, especially at a school in New Mexico State that doesn't have talent. Why anybody would take them, you got to be out of your mind. So don't listen to these chuckleheads on the radio or on the TV or ESPN. They don't know anything. They don't see it like I see it. They don't get what I get. So they just talk to talk. They're probably in bed with Vegas. Hey, we need money on New Mexico State. Talk them up. That's probably what's happening. I don't do that. So I'm telling you what's going on. So I don't know. At half, I'm almost tempted to take Nevada minus the 2.5 because I know Nevada's going to win. They can't be. They've had players, right? They lost strong, but they were running an air raid offense, so they're going to run whatever offense they run. I'm sure the coach is sitting there going, "What do I got? Oh, I got runners. I'll run. I got passers. I'll pass." I'm sure their backup quarterback can play. He wouldn't have been there, right? The other coach wouldn't have got him. So I'm almost like Nevada minus 2.5 there. Northwestern, Nebraska minus 12 with the Texas quarterback. Northwestern's quarterback's back. Northwestern off a terrible year with a great coach. Be careful. They were a Z last year. 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they were in the Big Ten championship game, giving Ohio State all they wanted with a cornerback who got drafted in the first round and everything. Don't tell me they don't have talent. They had a bad year last year, and normally teams with good coaches and good programs bounce back. So I wouldn't think Nebraska is going to just blow out Northwestern. Why? This isn't whatchamacallit. This isn't Tom Osborne. This isn't, you don't have the talent of the teams in the 80s and the 90s. Martinez, was he that bad? I don't know, but he doesn't have Mackenzie Milton, and that's all I know. So I don't look at Nebraska as this big powerhouse. 12, I think, is a lot of points. I'll be doubt if they cover. Hey, Major James, how are you doing? Good to hear from you. We're going. We're all set for first week. Now, if you buy next week also, so I've done that just because it's a short week, and I've already got all the plays. So I've got 5 teasers. I got 1 teaser today. I got 4 teasers next week, including a lock. So that's it. The free picks, Ohio State, USC. Just FYI. So again, Nebraska, and I guess the game's in Ireland or something. So it might be started soon, but there's no way I'd take Nebraska. A team like New Mexico State's always a Z, right? The last 5 years, they're a terrible team. Not Northwestern. They were, like I said, pretty good. UConn and Utah State, another Z team in UConn against Utah State. A B team. Utah State's very explosive and a fairly good defense. UConn, this is lane 27 and a 58.5 over. So here's how you analyze. Do I go over or do I take the team? If you think UConn's going to score in the 20s, Utah State's going to get in the 40s. So that's going to go over. Problem is, UConn's a terrible team, terrible offense. Are they going to be able to score 20 points? Otherwise, Utah State's going to have to score the 52.5 by themselves. Well, if they're going to score 52.5 by themselves, you might as well lay the 21 in a teaser because they're going to blow them out. So I don't know if I can get 20 points from UConn. What do they got? They're a Z team. They got no offense. It's like New Mexico State. It's like UMass. If the team doesn't have an offense, how are they going to score for you? And over, you need both teams scoring, and you need a fairly close game where they don't start running the ball in the fourth quarter because they're up 30. That's the worst thing in an over. You need one more touchdown, but it's a 30-point game, and they're just running the clock, and the other team's just passing every down, and they're saying, and they can't move. So that's the word. You need a close game to really get those overs. I don't see a close game here. I definitely like Utah State. Wyoming, Illinois, 2 under teams. Illinois apparently is going to try to run the ball. Wyoming, that's all they do. Even with Allen there, they ran the ball. Illinois laying 13. That line's been jumping up, and I don't know why. Over under 44. Now, again, that's a low over under. I think it started at 48. And this is why I play over unders early, because they tend to move a lot more than the points. So 48 or 44 is a very low under. That means you're teasing it to 50. I think this game's close, and I think this game's under, and why would you take Illinois laying 13 to Wyoming? Wyoming's very well coached, a very strong defense. This game will be should be a very low scoring game, and I think close. Charlotte, Florida Atlantic laying 7.5, over under a 60. My first line was Charlotte -7 because I know Reynolds. I love the quarterback. Florida Atlantic's at home, and they're really not a bad team this year. Charlotte's an over team, which means they don't have a defense. Florida Atlantic's an E team, which means they have somewhat of a defense, somewhat of an offense. So they don't really light it up, but their defense is okay. I don't know. I was asked, do I like Charlotte in 13.5? I says, I'd rather play the game over than Charlotte in 13.5 or Florida Atlantic -1.5. I don't know that you can say Florida Atlantic's definitely going to win. Charlotte 13.5 would seem like a logical bet. And then 60 of over under means 54. Now, what I look for in an over is 2 good quarterbacks, which you have here, and 2 defenses. So I think this game should get into the 70s. That would be my point. North Texas, UTEP. Now, I like UTEP. North Texas is one of those, what is it? It's North Texas. I don't know. Mean Joe Green played there, I think. I don't know. I have no idea who they are yet. I have them as an over team, and I have UTEP as an even team. So the better defense goes to UTEP. I think UTEP wins the game. I don't know. But again, this is a game I don't know. I don't know how good North Texas is. We got to see this game to get some box scores to say, oh, yeah, they got a really good quarterback. They got a really good running back. I don't know that yet. Same thing with UTEP. UTEP got better last year, so they had gotten really weak. They started to get better. Over under 54.5. I can't say. Both quarterbacks are returning, but I actually have North Texas with a weak quarterback, and that's probably because he throws like 9 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. If I read that, I call him a weak quarterback because he throws too many interceptions. So I don't know. I would probably tease the dog. I don't know about over under. If I have both quarterbacks returning, but I don't know. North Texas is more of an over, but UTEP's defense. So I don't know. This is a game to learn from. Vanderbilt, Hawaii, same thing. Vandy's up to 9, so money's going on Vandy. Now this is Hawaii. Timmy Chang, he was a quarterback there. He's a very good quarterback there. He's the new coach. They got a new quarterback who probably Timmy Chang knows. Over under 54.5. Now Vandy, SEC. Now they're a ZSEC team, which means Alabama will kill them, Georgia will kill them, Florida will kill them. However, against Hawaii, think of a horse race where they're, moving down in class. So you got Hawaii. I know Timmy Chang. I know they're going to spread it out and throw the ball 100 times a game. That doesn't necessarily lead to points. It just leads to mismatches, and they probably will score. I think they'll score 20. Vandy will score 20. I don't know if they can go over 48.5. I don't know how good Vandy is. I assume Vandy's going to blitz a lot. They have to have better talent. They're SEC. They'll put pressure on the quarterback if they can get there. So I think a lot of sacks in the game. Honestly, I have no idea. Again, how do I bet a Z team? How do I take Vandy over Hawaii? It's in Hawaii, so there's a long flight and it's nice weather and you're on a beach. So how much are you into football? Vandy knows they're not going to win a game in the SEC. On one hand, this is their chance to win. On the other hand, do they really care? I don't know. It's a very tough game. All I can say is I think Hawaii can play with them. But we'll see. Again, it's the first coach, the coach's first game, the quarterback with the coach for. Now, if this was week 6, we'd have more information. We could make a proper bet. I wouldn't touch this game. So that's this week. Let's go through the line on next week's games. And I'm really looking for line changes. Oak State, 20.5, 58 with Central Michigan. Tennessee, 33.5, 67. I think that line moved up a point. Pitt, 7.5, 50 against West Virginia. That line was 6.5. Missouri, 19 over Louisiana Tech. That line, I think, went down. I think it was 20. Penn State, 3.5, 54. No movement. Minnesota, 37.5, 56. I don't understand that line. You got New Mexico State, 8.5 from Nevada, and here they're 37.5 from a weak offensive team. I don't know. Michigan State, 20.5 over Western. Old Dominion and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, 8.5 over Old Dominion. Duke, 6.5, 53. Duke's a terrible team this year, so is Temple. Indy, 3.5 over Illinois. Indy should not be favored over anybody but a Division II team. TCU, 10.5 over Colorado. Colorado sucks. BC, 7.5 over Rutgers. I think BC wins that game. NC State, 10.5 over East Carolina, like North Carolina State. They're a very strong team, North Carolina State. Good quarterback, good defense. They could probably, them and Miami, win the ACC. We'll see. Clemson's quarterback's just too weak. Michigan, 27.5, 58. That line hasn't moved. North Carolina, 1.5, 55.5 over App State. It would not surprise me at all if App State gets the W. Mary, 20.5, 62 against Buffalo. Should be a high-scoring game there. Mary with no defense. UCLA, 25.5, 57.5. That line moved down from, I think, 26. Oklahoma, 31.5, 56. That line moved down from 32. I don't know why Oklahoma is favored by that much without, they went to a defensive coach. I mean, where are you getting that from? Georgia, 17.5, 51.5 against Oregon. And again, this game is in Atlanta in the Mercedes Dome, not at Oregon. So it looks like it's at Oregon, but it's not. Oregon has the Georgia defensive coordinator as the head coach, but I think it'll be like Belichick, where the assistant coaches are meaningless. It's all Belichick there. And it was really all Brady, as you can see now. Without Brady, they're really a bad team. San Diego State, 6 over and 47.5 over Arizona. San Diego State's much the better team there. Arkansas, 6.5 over Cincinnati, 52. It'll be interesting. Cincinnati with the new quarterback and the new running back without Ritter. It could take time. A good game here. Houston, 5.5, 61.5 against UTSA. Tulsa, 3, 45.5 against Wyoming. BYU, 12.5, 58.5. I think they will beat USF. They're a much better team. Good quarterback. Strong. They're a pretty strong team. Ole Miss, 22.5, 57.5 against Troy. I got to check Troy out. Ole Miss is okay. New quarterback. Nevada, 5.5, 56.5 against Texas State. Again, we don't know. Let's see what Nevada does. So Nevada's 8.5 over New Mexico State and 5.5 over Texas State. Makes no freaking difference. It makes no sense. So they can beat Texas State by 6. They can't beat New Mexico State by 9. Seriously. James Madison 6.5, 57 over Middle Tennessee. We have no idea. James Madison was Division II last year, moved up into Division I. Who knows? USC 34.5, 63.5 against Rice. Again, we've taken USC. Excuse me. We've taken USC. USC. Now, here they should blow out Rice. They've got the Oklahoma offense and quarterback. You're looking at Rice with a terrible defense, no quarterback, no offense. How are they going to score? This goes back into me saying, do I take the over or take the team? USC will score 50 points, no problem, with the Oklahoma style, and he's got the quarterback. So this guy always gets these experienced quarterbacks. We saw what happened when he had a weak quarterback last year with Rattler. He did nothing. So he can't really coach good quarterbacks. He gets these guys who have already been taught, and then he just runs this stupid offense where he spreads the receivers deep and then runs the quarterback. It's a really stupid offense. It works against Rice. It doesn't work against Alabama, Georgia, these good teams. They just, okay, this is all you got. Never has a running attack. So I look for them to score a lot because he's going to want to say, look how good we are. So he's going to run the score off. Rice doesn't have a chance. Ohio, Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic 3.5 over Ohio. I have Ohio as a W team. And I have Florida Atlantic as an A. I think Florida Atlantic is going to go to a B team this year. They're a little more scoring. Ohio, a W team, means they got a pretty bad defense and a pretty bad offense, but they'll score in the 20s and give up like upper 20s. So Ohio's not a great team. They're at home, so we'll see. A lot will be predicated on how does Florida Atlantic does against Charlotte. If they lose, they might come on. If they win, we'll see. But again, this is, who knows, Florida Atlantic at Ohio favored. They're not that strong of a team. A lot of these teams cannot be favorites. Indiana was one of them. You can't lay points with Indiana and assume they're going to win. It's not going to happen. They're not that good. In other words, forget the points. Let's look at the game even. Do you think Indiana can beat anybody? Can you think New Mexico State can beat anybody, or UMass or Connecticut? These teams are so bad they can't be favored. And when they are, that's when you go against them because they can't. You can't say they're going to win. It's a lot of that in the NFL where these weak teams, Jacksonville or Houston, you can't lay them as the favorite. My God. Tulane, 29.5 against UMass, 60.5. Again, UMass is a Z. How strong is Tulane is the question. Where is that? I hate when they change the order of these games. So you write them down in order, and then you go to a different site. Tulane's an over team, so Tulane could cover this. Again, it's 60. Can UMass score the 20 points needed to take this game over? And I don't think so. They're a Z team, meaning they have no offense. So Tulane will score and score and score. Then they start running the clock out. That's the problem. Probably gets into the 50s, but Tulane probably gets most of the 50. So UMass might get 7, Tulane in the 40s. So you take Tulane. My favorite game, Army, Coastal Carolina, very tough game. I don't see how I can play it. Coastal Carolina lane 3, that spread's down. That spread was, I think it was 4 or 5. I have Coastal Carolina 7. I will not bet against my Army in this situation. Over under 54.5. Now, normally I would bet this over with Army, but they got a new quarterback. He did play a lot last year, so we got to see Army. Coastal Carolina, great quarterback. They will definitely put up points here. If I take it to the Western Kentucky Army game last year, it was 38-34 or something like that. They scored a ton. But Army's quarterback last year made a lot of big runs and got a lot of touchdowns. Where let's see what they got this year. I don't know. Coastal Carolina, great team. I hate this game because these are teams I would bet in other, like if Coastal Carolina is playing somebody and Army's playing somebody, I would bet both of those, but I can't play Army Coastal Carolina because I am afraid of McCall, the Coastal Carolina quarterback. I can't play Army and bet against McCall, and the same thing, I can't bet against Army because they played Oklahoma and Michigan down to the wire, and Wisconsin. But it's a very good game. Kentucky 17.5, 51.5. I think that line went down from 18 or 19. Kentucky's a very good team. I look for them to cover in this game. Utah, Florida. Everybody's talking about this Richardson. Like, what the fuck? This guy, you look at his stats. I don't even think he played last year. You look at his stats. He did nothing. I don't think he threw the ball 20 times 2 years ago or last year. And he had like 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And everybody says he's the greatest thing since sliced bread because he's one of these athletes like Malik Willis. Well, I don't want an athlete. I want a quarterback. I need a guy who throws the ball. And in this game, the Utah quarterback, Mr. Rising, is the best in the country. This Richardson for Florida, I don't see what the big deal is. I like to see the guy first. Rising, now I wouldn't have played him the first week, but after watching him 2 or 3 weeks, we locked the Ohio State game because of him, and it won at halftime. We went over 56, and they covered at halftime in the Rose Bowl. I'm not betting against Rising with a quarterback who, as far as I can see, doesn't do anything. So he might be a runner. I don't know. Utah, they've seen that before. No, I like Utah a lot here. 2.5, so you get 3.5, so that's good. I question people who play money lines. Like, why do you play money lines? So if you're taking Utah, you only lay in 2.5. I can maybe see it if it's 10 and you want to play a money line. But again, this is why we play teasers. I figure out which way to go with it. If I thought Florida and 8.5 was a good bet, I'd bet it, but I don't. And if I don't, why would I play money line? I'd take Utah on 3.5. I get better odds. And so if you play money line, what do you think? They're going to win by 1? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. And your odds are worse. Here, the money line is Utah minus 138. But if I tease it, it's 110 or 0. If William Hill still has no juice college teasers. I don't know. I'm not in Vegas right now, but if I do that, why would I? If I can get 3.5, why would I money line it? And it's certainly not hard for us to find a second game. Like I said, Ohio State and USC. There's 2 games right there, so not too hard. So I think Utah wins the game. I don't know if it'll be easy, but Florida's very weak. New coach. I like the coach, but he was at Louisiana Lafayette. How many times have we seen a small college coach go to a big college and do nothing? Scott Frost, the guy from Arkansas, the guy from Wisconsin who went to Arkansas, who's now at Illinois, Lovie Smith. There's a lot of these college. The guy who was at Colorado State, who's now went to Florida, and then now he's at Central Michigan. I don't think I've ever seen a guy from a small college. I think Urban Meyer was the only one where small college that went to a bigger college. Like he went from Bowling Green to Utah, and then he was very good at Utah, went to Florida. But that's not the norm. The norm is these guys do nothing. So where I do like the coach, I question if it was the coach or if it was Levi Lewis, the quarterback at Louisiana Lafayette. Again, it's like the Belichick-Brady thing. Brady goes to Tampa, wins the Super Bowl. What's Belichick? He won't even make the playoffs. His quarterback's weak. He can't coach. He only won because Brady wouldn't let him lose. It ain't because of Belichick. All right. Southern Miss and Liberty. Liberty 3.5 over Southern Miss. I like Liberty's coach, Hugh Freeze. He was at Ole Miss, I think. Very good coach. Southern Miss. What do I got? I got Liberty as an over and Southern Miss as a W. Now Liberty had Willis. They have a really good quarterback this year. Southern Miss is a W, means they're kind of a weak team. I think Liberty, I think that's a low line. What do I have the line? I had Liberty by 7. I had Utah by 7 also. Liberty by 7, and they're only 3.5. I think. Now, if I was on BetMGM, I would say, I see value there. What a bunch of bullshit. This isn't the stock market. No, I just think it's under spread. 3.5. I don't get it. Liberty probably win by 2 touchdowns. Memphis, Mississippi State. Mississippi State 15.5, over under 56.5. I think this is an over. Memphis has good teams usually, and old Mississippi State, Mike Leach, well, he doesn't play defense. Do they have a returning quarterback? Yeah, so both quarterbacks are returning. Oh, no, that's the Clemson game. Both are returning. I think this is a very high-scoring game because I don't think either team's got a good defense. So what do I got them as? Yeah, I got them as both over. So they score a lot, give up a lot. I think this is a low over, 56.5. I think it should be in the 60s. So to go over 50.5, I think they cover that by the third quarter. SMU, North Texas. Again, when they had North Texas week 1 against Utah. Okay, that'll tell us something. Really, all it'll tell us is can they score or not? How's their quarterback look? Now you got SMU. We know SMU is explosive with no defense, laying 10.5. Over under a 68. Is North Texas capable of getting 30 points? Because if they're not, you're taking SMU laying the 4.5. So again, it becomes what's the other thing? We know SMU. Great offense, great quarterback, no defense. We know that. North Texas, we don't know. Can they light it up? Now, SMU is not terrible defensively, but it takes a good offense like an Oklahoma or Texas to really light it up, or what they played that game when they beat TCU last year in an 80-point game. I don't know. So I don't know North Texas. What do I have them at? I have them as an over team. So we will see. We will see if they're how strong. Again, it's all dependent on the quarterback. And then are they going to run the ball against SMU? See, that's what happens. Sometimes the coach says, you know what? We got to run the ball. It's SMU to keep their offense off the field, which usually backfires because you're not a running team. You're a passing team, and you need to pass the ball. So these coaches outsmart themselves. Georgia State, South Carolina, 13-56. I don't like South Carolina. I don't like Rattler. I think that spreads too much. Georgia State, I got them as an even team, returning quarterback. I think they're okay. I don't know. I don't think they beat South Carolina, but I don't like the line. I don't like Rattler. All right, here's the other half of the free pick. Ohio State, 15.5, 58.5. I was worried this game was jumping from, I think, 14 to 15.5, and now it's stopped. My guess is you'll start getting some Notre Dame money at 15.5, back down to 14, would be my thought. 58.5. I don't know that Notre Dame, they don't have a quarterback. The coach, who knows? He's not as good as Brian Kelly. He's likable. Well, that doesn't make – who cares? Does he know how to coach? Vince Lombardi wasn't likable. Chuck Noll wasn't likable. What did they do? They win Super Bowls. So the fact he's a likable coach. Todd Day at Ohio State is a good coach, and they got a good quarterback and a good offense and a good defense. And they're at home, which doesn't matter much for Ohio State, but probably easier than playing at Notre Dame. This is a big game for Ohio State. They want to get back in the playoffs. They're pissed off. Oh, forgive me. I did a 72-hour fast this week. You just drink water and coffee and tea and you don't eat. And it's for health reasons. There was no reason. It's good to clean your body out. Your body cleans its cells, gets rid of your bad cells. The reason you have cancer, these old timers, is when your cells get weak and you don't let your body clean them. And that's when you eat 3-4 meals a day. When you eat 2 meals a day, but the less you eat, the more your body cleans. Well, when you do a 72-hour fast, there's that little guy inside you, and he's going, I need energy. And he goes to all these, well, you're a weak cell. I'm going to kill you. We don't want you. And he cleans your whole body out and your organs and all your bad cells. So right now I'm kind of tired from that, but I apologize. But anyway, I just don't see Notre Dame playing with Ohio. I think Ohio State wins this game by 30 points. Only because I don't know the coach of Notre Dame, and I don't know the quarterback. And they had a pretty weak quarterback last year. When you start taking kids from Wisconsin as your quarterback, you got problems. So I think Kelly left the cupboard kind of bare. The All-American safety went to the pros. They don't really have running, and they don't have a quarterback. I don't know how Notre Dame scores in this game, and Ohio State is something to prove, and they are going to light it up. So this is second part of our free pick. So we got USC and Ohio State. But I like it at under 10, which is it's holding at 15.5. By next week, I don't know. I think it comes down to 14 because I think the Notre Dame guys go, oh, I can get Notre Dame 15.5. Then you got the guys going, oh, well, look at the spread. It's so high. They want you to take Ohio State. They want you to take Notre Dame because it's so high. I mean, no, this is the spread that gets the betting even. And they think that a lot of people are on Ohio State. So to get Notre Dame action, they got to make it 15.5. But I do think it ends at 14. Alabama, Utah State. God, I don't understand this one at all. Utah State over under 62.5. Alabama 40. Why is Alabama 40-point favorites? I don't have a clue. Alabama. All right, we all know they're a good team, but Utah State's not a bad team, and they can score. If anything, this is an over. Here's where I think Utah State gets in the 20s. Now Alabama's got them beat them by 46 points. That means they got to get in the 70s. I don't know. We'll put my picks in for today. Will I put my picks in? Okay, Don. Well, good luck. You have a 3-team parlay. Who do you got? You gonna buy my package? You get $750 for the whole year, or you're going to buy weeklies and monthlies. But if you bought today, you get next week. You get what I'm talking about now. All right. So I don't see Alabama. I mean, that you can get 46 in Utah State. Not that that's a good bet because you never really want to bet against Alabama, but I think it'll be close. I think it'll be the win by 30. Syracuse, Louisville -4. I like Louisville in the game. They got a good quarterback this year. How much for the month and where can I buy them? The month is $300. You go to www.teaserking.com and you go to and I have the tabs and you go to purchase picks and then pick your thing. I would recommend college and pro, and you get all the locks are included in the package. College is just 2, pros just 2 if you just want to play those. But for another 100, you get all the picks. And if let's say today tomorrow, next week I locked a college game. So if you played the pro package, you wouldn't get the college lock. So that's why I say take it all. It's only 300. But again, go to www.teaserking.com. And then you get to ask me questions. Morning, G, the artist. How are you today? Don Play, then you get to ask me, like you did a 3-team parlay. You could come to me first and say, well, these are the 3 teams I like. What do you like? Now, unless you took my Ohio State USC free pick and then you found your third pick, then that's fine. Again, I have a teaser today, and then I got 4 teasers for week 1 at college plus 1 lock. So it's 10 teams. Sometimes what I do is I put like a really strong lock in 2 teasers because once you find that team, you want to play them in multiple teasers because it's a good pick and you're pretty sure they're going to win. G the artist, any questions, comments? I went through today's lines basically. The free picks, Ohio State, USC in a teaser. Now, everything I do is in a teaser. Sometimes it's an over-under, sometimes it's a team, but I always have good reasons for it. That's what separates me from the rest of these guys. Texas, 38.5, 66.5 over Louisiana Monroe. Louisiana Monroe, another Z team. Texas, an over team. Again, an over team has no defense. So how do you play this? Well, because Louisiana Monroe is a Z team, I can't really go over because I can't. How do I get points from Louisiana Monroe when they don't have an offense? Texas will score a lot, but will they get to 60? Well, so we tease it to 60. I certainly am not comfortable with Texas laying 38.5, laying 32, but they could. But Texas isn't as strong as USC, Ohio State. We already talked. I read your email, so we're good. Oh, okay. Good to know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problem. I'm not used to this name for you, G. Let's see. Oregon State, Boise State. Oregon State 3.5, 57.5. Now that line keep moving. I saw it 2.5 with Oregon State. I really like Oregon State getting over 3, but jump back to 2.5 and you can get 3.5. I really like the Oregon State there. I think they're the better team. Boise's okay, but it's not the old Boise. They're okay. I like their quarterback. They'll score points. I think this game goes over 51.5. Before Boise is a dog, probably not too bad. But again, if Oregon State, if it goes back to 2.5 and I get 3.5, I do like Oregon State there. Washington, Kent. Washington 21.5, 60. And I like Kent in this game, 27.5. They are very strong offensive, and I don't think Washington can score that much. You get 27.5 in Kent. I don't know if Washington can get 30 points, and I know Kent's going to get 20 on them. So if Kent gets 20, Washington's got to put up 50 points. They're not going to do that. Kent's okay. They're not a great defense. Kent's an over team. So they'll give up 30 points to a normal team, a MAC team. But you got, Jesus. That's a hard one there to get 57. Kent will score on Washington. Kent is the best balanced team in the country. They get 250 on the ground, 250 passing. Unbelievable. So I wouldn't take Washington here with no way. This is all Kent. Western Kentucky, Hawaii. Western Kentucky laying 13, Hawaii 59.5. We got to see. We got week 1, we got Hawaii, Vanderbilt, and then Western Kentucky plays a terrible team, Division II. This could be an over. We'll see how Hawaii does, but they'll be used to the new coach and new offense. So this could be an overplay. It's a cheap over at 59.5 with 2 explosive offenses. It's just early for them. So if this is week 5, it's an easy over. Now we gotta see what happens in week 1. LSU 3.5, 51.5 against Florida State. I like LSU here. I think they're much better. And with Brian Kelly, this is a joke. I got LSU. I have LSU 14 over Florida State. I just don't get Florida State's not that good. LSU has a lot of talent. Charline moved to 59.5. If I tease it, it goes down to 53.5. Gee, it's a 6-point teaser. You can play a 7-point teaser, but I don't think the odds are worth it to get that 1 point because I don't think the 1 point matters. I think the game goes over 65 anyway. So, yeah, I noticed that line moved. So, yeah, take it at you'll lay 53.5. Not a problem. So LSU 3.5 is a joke. Will it go over? I don't know. LSU strong defensive team. They have strong players, and look for Boucher to catch a lot of passes. So I think LSU is the way to go there. And Clemson 21, 48.5 against Georgia Tech. This Clemson has no quarterback. They're going to run the ball. So this is almost like Army. And do you trust Army to lay 21 or the 48.5? I think it's more of an under game, under 54.5, because I don't think Georgia Tech scores. I think it's 20-0 Clemson. They're going to just pound the ball. Their quarterback sucks. Their defense is great. Georgia Tech has no offense, not a lot on defense either, but Clemson will just run the ball, run the clock. Depends how many defensive touchdowns Clemson gets, but this should be a shutout, maybe 30-something-0. So those are your lines and your plays. Like I said, if you bought today, you get next week. If you are a customer and you bought the year, you get 100 off. So I'm only charging $750 for the whole year, all the games. Normally I'm about 1,100, but with what's going on, and I understand inflation and all this crap, my advice is if you can afford that, to play that. That's why I gave you a good discount. So that's basically week one. So we're going to keep our eyes. Again, I don't understand the Nevada line today. Nebraska, I don't get. Utah State should pound. Illinois, I think that line's too high. Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, I think it's an over. North Texas, UTEP, I think is I like the dog there. And then Vandy, Hawaii, I don't know. Vandy laying 9, maybe, because they're an SEC team. They should handle it. I liked it at 6. I think even Vandy wins at 9. Now they're going to win by a field goal. Well, we'll see. Hawaii with the new coach, new quarterback. They're going to be pass happy. It's Timmy Chang, who was the quarterback there for 3 or 4 years. So be careful. Watch the lines. Now I'm noticing a bunch of teams playing Division II, and I'm seeing a line. Don't chase those. I think even Army plays today, and then some other teams play, but they're playing Division II teams. And then they throw a line out there. Now, the problem is you don't know the Division II team. I mean, some of them can win. Some of them are pretty good defensive teams or good offensive teams. Look at Michigan. They lost to App State 10 years ago or 15, whatever it was. So this is what you have to be careful with in playing these these Division II games, just because there's a line out there. I watch them. I see, they threw a line, somebody's laying 40 and then they win by 10. It's not a guarantee you're going to win. I wouldn't mess with them. If you don't know the Division II team, you can't bet. If you don't know both teams, you can't bet the game, pure and simple. That's how that's all you can do. This is the end of the preseason this weekend. I'll have some more analysis on that. I don't understand this. These guys aren't playing the half their team anyway. You got to buy next week. Week one is almost like an exhibition game for me. Week one in the pros. I mean, it's Brady, it's Rodgers, it's Mahomes, it's Russell Wilson. After that, I think there's going to be a lot of unders I'm going to be playing. I can already see 7 or 8 unders. I know I think, Don, you like the unders. There's a lot of unders out there week one, just because you have such weak quarterbacks. You don't really have too many strong teams. Before, with Montana, Lawrence Taylor, the 70s Steelers, you would bet on that. You had them like, they're only laying 7. I'll lay the 1. You had the Raiders. You had the Cowboys. You don't have that anymore. There is the best team is probably Tampa because of Brady. KC, I don't know. Buffalo, they lost to Jacksonville last year. I don't know about them. Miami stinks. New England's no longer. You got more teams like Miami, New England, who are weak, and Houston and Jacksonville than you do teams that are good. So there's very few good teams, which makes pros very hard. Here I can bet on Ohio State and Georgia and UCLA and Utah, and I can bet really strong. Miami of Florida, Pittsburgh. I can bet good teams in college and go against the Z teams. Problem is, there's some Z teams in the pros, but there's no really good team in the pro. Maybe Tampa, maybe Green Bay. I do like their quarterback Baylor from Oregon State. He was a really good running back. But outside of that, there's only a handful, and then you get them playing each other. So you get Green Bay, Kansas City, and you either bet the game over or you can't play it. So that's what I don't like when they play each other. Some news on our gold site. Andy Raphael, hello. Nebraska money line, UCF money line. You like those picks? UCF. Who the hell is UCF playing? I don't see UCF. What are they playing? Division II? Let me see. UCF. I'm not seeing UCF today. That next week? Let's see. They're playing South Carolina State. You sure it's UCF? I don't think there'd be a line on that, and I don't think there'd be the money line would be 10,000. Florida Atlantic. No, I don't like either. I can't. I don't know what Northwestern is going to be, and then Florida Atlantic. I like the game over, not Florida Atlantic. Very good quarterback Reynolds on Charlotte, and they're going to score a lot. Could easily upset Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's okay, but Charlotte's a good over team. So Florida Atlantic, I think, is the better team, but I'd rather play the game over than money line it. You be careful with the money line. If you want to do that, just tease the game. I gave you a free pick. Ohio State, USC is a free teaser next week. So I could see maybe that, but I don't trust Florida Atlantic to win the game against a very strong quarterback at Charlotte. Right, Reynolds is very good. He'll score on you and he'll make you sweat late. So I'd rather not. I'd rather take USC to kill a terrible Rice team than to mess with the Florida Atlantic. But again, if you want action today, yes, I would play Florida Atlantic over. Nebraska money line. I don't trust Northwestern. Gee, damn, I can't tease Utah State to my book. Won't let me. What do you mean he won't let you? Who's your book? Are you online? Well, if you can't, just play it straight. But we'll look for another online book. Oh, your local. Why won't the local book take it? Mine takes teaser. She doesn't care. My ads are better too. But you'll need another book then, because you need a book that takes those games. That's ridiculous. What was his reason? Was he afraid? I mean, he's some of the games he doesn't take. Anyway, you need to find. I think Bodog will take they should tease everything. Maybe try them, or I don't know. I don't advise this FanDuel or DraftKings or all that bullshit. The odds are terrible and the lines are terrible. They're 5 dimes. Stay away from. They do their own little teaser lines. So try to get. You need a second book, or you need that. But I'd ask him why. Does he think Utah State is a lock at 21.5? All right. Anyway, so Andy, I'd play the game over, but Nebraska, why Nebraska money line? How good's Nebraska? You don't even know how good Northwestern is. Nebraska got a new quarterback. the guy from Texas. He sucked at Texas, so why is he all of a sudden going to be a superstar at Nebraska? I just think Northwestern, after a bad year, is not going to have another bad year. Their coach is too good. They get pissed off. So with that said, I can't say Nebraska's just going to win. It's a very limited board this week, but I might say take the dog in the North Texas game, tease it with Florida Atlantic over. I don't. It's like money lining Illinois. I don't trust that either. You don't know how good Northwestern is, so until you know that, you can't money line Nebraska. Nebraska's not that good to money line. There's a lot of games next week, but just go easy on it this week. But I don't know, Nebraska. They got to show me something, and I don't know how strong the Texas quarterback is. So I would say no. I would say UC or Florida Atlantic over and skip the Nebraska money line because you just don't know enough about Northwestern. And it's got to be very expensive to money line Nebraska. And I don't know you're getting value there. Anyway, what was I talking? Pros. So pros are so weak. Oh, no, I was going to talk gold. So real quick on gold. The Russians are coming out with a new exchange, the MOW or something, where it's a Moscow gold exchange to compete with COMEX. Well, just the competition, as you've learned from me in my economics classes here, is good. It'll get to the market, and that's what gold needs, is to be freely traded at market prices. That's when you get your 20,000 per ounce gold and your 2,000, 3,000 per ounce silver. Right now it's being manipulated. There was a thing on JP Morgan. The guys are going to jail for manipulating. They were found guilty last week. So definitely gold is not at the right price, or silver. And Russia doesn't like it either because they need gold to go up, as does China. So look for this. They keep calling it a black swan event, which will probably be some other war or something. There's a lot of the water in China is down. They do not have electricity very much. So it's very limited, the electricity there. So if you order stuff from China, forget it. It's not coming. They can't make it because their factories aren't working. So look for gold to go through the roof and silver. And with this Moscow exchange and this just Russian China new currency backed by gold and silver, it's going through the roof. So that's all I can say, is it's very close to happening. Buy your gold and silver. So let's take our football money and buy gold and silver. Explain to me money lines. Why would anybody play money lines? I kind of get it on a Nebraska game. But if you think you need a money line to play Nebraska at 12.5, what the fuck? I mean, see, you got to understand the game, right? This is why you watch me, because I'm breaking the teams down. So we know, like, I would never money line Ohio State, Notre Dame. We're playing Ohio State minus 9.5. I feel very comfortable, or I wouldn't pick it, that Ohio State's going to kill them, because Notre Dame, new coach, new quarterback, and Ohio State's pissed off they didn't make the playoffs. So why would I money line Ohio State and lay 3,000 to win 100 when I can lay 110 in a teaser and pretty confident they're going to win by a lot? So same thing with USC. So look at the game, analyze it, pick the winner. That's what I do. And then I'm just looking for it without a line, and then I see the line and I take advantage of a bad line, and then I'm always going to 6-point tease it, because I won't make the bet if I don't like it. Like Army, Coastal Carolina. Why would you money line that? Where's the spread? So Coastal Carolina is laying 3 to Army. You want to money line it? For what? Who do you think's going to win? No idea. Army played some big games, very close. Oklahoma, Michigan, Wisconsin. Here they got Coastal Carolina, a passing team, but they beat Western Kentucky with Zappy last year. Over under 54. Again, it's a tough read. So you got to figure the game out. Then you figure out your bet. But I don't get the money line because you're laying. Why do I want to lay 1,500 to win 100 or 1,000 to win 100? First of all, the line isn't good. So in other words, if you ever notice a money line, right? One team is you got to lay 1,000 to win 100. The other one's 600. Well, wait a minute. Why isn't the other one 1,000? Why isn't it 1,000 to win 100 or 100 to win 1,000? It's not. That's where they're fucking you over. Is you bet 100 to win 650, but you got to bet 1,000 to win 100. That's where they gap use to 350. It's a sucker bet all the way around. I don't get the money lines. So you guys think that the game's going to win even, but you don't. See, I'm doing that with the points. I'm making the game where we're going to win. USC is going to kill Rice. Take the teaser, 34, go to 28. Ohio State, Notre Dame. I've analyzed the game. That's what's going to happen. Why? Rice is a Z team. They're terrible defense. They don't have much of an offense. USC wants to show we belong because it's the Oklahoma guys, but he's got the Oklahoma quarterback. They're going to light it up. Rice stinks. They want to prove a point. They're going to put up a 60 on Rice. That's there. That you can see. So I would never the money line on that would be 30,000 to win 100. But the teaser, I'm only laying 28. Not a problem. They'll have that by halftime. Same thing, Ohio State, Notre Dame. New quarterback, new coach for Notre Dame, running back. They don't have. Maybe they got a good offensive line. Who gives a shit? This is Ohio State. You can beat a good offensive line with the blitz, which Ohio State will do. Ohio State's out to prove their defense sucked last year. They're going to get better. Notre Dame doesn't have the quarterback. And that's what do I talk about? Balance. If you don't have balance, you don't have an offense. How's Ohio State going to defend Notre Dame? They're not going to respect the quarterback because he stinks. So they're going to take the run away. The quarterback, what's he going to do? So that's the problem with it. You're going to have that issue. So pick the game. Look at the game even. Pick your game. Pick the strength. And the numbers are the numbers. But the money line value of laying 600-700 to win 100 means you don't really know who's going to win. I mean, I don't. So you want Nebraska, Andy? Do you not? Did you analyze Northwestern and do you think they're weak, or is Nebraska that strong? Then lay the 6.5. Tease it at 110. Don't mess around with the money line where you're laying 4. What's the money line on Nebraska? Let's see. You're laying 472 to win 100. I have here on Scores and Odd. Now I know everything, so you're probably 450 to 500. And you're laying 12. Well, why are they a 12-point favorite? Do you think Nebraska's 12 points favorite better than Northwestern? I don't think so. Again, this isn't Tom Osborne and the boys in the 80s. This is a team that's barely 500, and Scott Frost should go back to UCF and get Mackenzie Milton. Then I'd lay, if you had UCF and Mackenzie Milton, I'd be laying the 12, no problem. But who do I got at Nebraska? I got some kid from Texas who obviously got beaten out. I don't have a really good quarterback just because he played at Texas. How good did Texas do? They had a good offense, but they didn't. They were a weak team. They didn't run and they didn't play defense. So I don't know what's going on. So I don't get the money line. Do you have money line short or money line long? I just tease it, man. I've been doing these since 1977. I know I would never even get into money lines. So if it's a 6, I go to even. I've got the money line, right? I find a 6-7 point favorite. So like BC Rutgers, I'd rather take BC down to 1. That's a money line, but it's in a teaser. Now, I can only find about 25 other games to tease it with. That's not a problem. Like I said, the free picks, USC, Ohio State, there you go. You got those two. So what are you dicking around with the Nebraska money line? So no, don't, like North Texas UTEP. How would you money line that? It's 1.5. Take the dog in 7.5. So you got to understand the teams, which is why I break them out and code them. So I know the Z teams, they're very weak, not a lot of offense, terrible defense. That's why I code them so I can quickly get to, because there's only 130 teams. So those are really, I got one teaser today and I got 4 teasers next week with the lock. I got, again, www.teaserking.com. If you want to buy the year, you get $100 off. So it'd only be $650 instead of $750. Even that's cheap. I'm normally $11.12, but because of the all the bullshit and reading everything and my teaching economics and gold and everything else, I'm trying to help you guys out. And if you bought today, you'd get next week, and then if you want to buy a month, it's only $300 for 4 weeks. You get pro, college, and the locks. The locks are always included in that. However, if you just want the locks, you can buy the locks weekly or for the year. But I kind of like the package because, like, I didn't lock USC and Ohio State, but they're really good plays. So you wouldn't get them necessarily if you bought the locks. You'd get whatever my lock is next week. So just be careful with that. Well, let's look at Arkansas, Cincinnati, 6.5. Why would you money line Cincinnati when you can tease them down to even? It's the same thing, but you're getting much better odds. Let's look. What's that money line? Oh, and by the way, the Wake quarterback is hurt. He's expected to be back in 4 or 5 weeks, so he's not lost for the year. Nick thought he was out for the whole year, but he's not. Let's see. Okay, Cincinnati, Arkansas. So Arkansas and the money line's 275. If I tease it, it's $1.10. So why would I money line it for 275 when I can tease it down to a half? Find, Ohio State or USC to play with it. That's the point. So why do that? So I don't like the money line. I care. What are you're obviously afraid Nebraska might not win, but if you take it, so it's like a 12-point teaser, basically, is what you're saying. But you're paying for it. It's huge. It's a huge money line. So I don't know. I don't like money lines. I don't know where you're getting it from. I don't teach it and I don't like it. So I'll almost always be against the money line because if I see a 6-point favorite, I'll just tease it to 0. Especially in the pros, KC, Tampa, Green Bay, just tease it to 0. Don't even fuck with the money. Maybe a strong like if the spread's 16 and I got a late 10 and I know they're going to win, that might be the only time, but the odds are going to be, I'll be laying 2,000. Now my best bet was I had Miami against Nebraska in 84. The odds were, I was getting 14.5 and then I teased it to 20. And Miami wins the game. Well, there you go. If you would have money lined Nebraska, you'd have lost $2,000 or $3,000 to win 100. I analyzed the game. I said Miami at home has a good chance with the points, and Bernie Kosar and the guys, and they won. So if you look at the game and figure it out, this is like kind of chess, kind of poker. So poker, we have a different hand every time. So I got aces. Now I got 2-7. All right, so forget the aces. 2-7, I fold. Next hand. But you're figuring out the hand. You're figuring out the opponent. Well, is he bluff or is he only bet when he's got a good hand? Same thing. Well, chess, I'm not that strong of a chess guy, but I understand I don't really understand the strategy. I understand the pieces, but I don't I think you go in the middle, but I don't really. I never really figured out how to play the game strategically. But poker, I got down pretty good. So that's what you're looking for. Is there's 10 reasons to make the bet. I don't make the bet until I know all 10 reasons. And then that's why I'm so successful at it, is I know the reasons. So one more time. Let's see any line changes today. G, did you get your bet in? All right. So like here, Western Kentucky's 26.5 over Austin P. And the money line's 10,000. But if you take Austin P, it's 1,600. What the fuck is that? That's ridiculous. So if I want Western Kentucky in a money line, I got to lay 10,000 to win 100. But if I go, Austin P might beat them, I only get 1,600. I don't get 10,000. What kind of crap is that? What a scam this money line is. I mean, forget that, but it's terrible odds. Nebraska 12, 50.5, starts at 12:30. It's in Ireland, I believe. Utah State 27, 58.5. Illinois, Wyoming 13:44. Did that line move? Illinois. No, it's still 13. No movement. Florida State. So you can't even get a money line. They're laying 38.5. You can't even get a money line on Florida State Duquesne. Florida Atlantic 7.5 and 60. I know that line, the over/under moved. North Texas 1.5, 54.5 against Utah. Nevada 8.5, 48.5 to Mexico State. And Vanderbilt 9, 54.5 over Hawaii. So the only money line I could see, but I would tease it, would be Nevada. But I'd rather go down to 2.5. I don't lay 340, and the odds on them only winning by 1 or 2. See, money line, they just got to win. Teaser, okay, you're throwing out the 1 and 2 in a money line. You're laying 2.5. So how often are they going to win by 1? Not a lot. That's my point. So I think that's it. You got the picks. So again, the free picks: USC, Ohio State. Again, www.teaserking.com. Go to the purchase picks. Again, there's one teaser this week, and there's 4 teasers next week, and one of them is a lock. And then, so it's really 10 games. I played in 5 teasers. So there you go. And then if you want to play a 4 or 5 team teaser, go ahead. Parlay. Don played a 3-team parlay. That's kind of how I would play teasers. A 3 or 4 team teaser. Then you start getting odds. We're going to play the 4 teams anyway. I always find, for me to find 10 games to bet is easy. Only when I bet them, there's strong bets based on strong reasoning. It's not just, well, I think I'll take this team. So you got to remember that. Like Florida Atlantic 3.5 over Ohio. I don't know. I don't know how good Ohio is. So I don't want to, I'll take a money line on Florida Atlantic, or I'll take Florida Atlantic. I don't really have a reason. I don't know how strong they are. So this week and next week, you're really learning about the teams. And make sure that Florida State Duquesne score you throw out of the Florida State stats. Because if they win 62-0, it's not real. They beat Duquesne. So you can't really get that. Now, USC Rice, yes, because they're a Division I team. But the Division II teams, you got to throw out. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, so G, are you okay? Did you get your bet in? I hope so. And find another bookie or place to bet these. I mean, Utah State is not an obscure college. So I don't know why he's not taking it, but Go to a Bodog, try that. I'm sure you can get that game in on Bodog. All right. Any other questions, comments? Who do I like? My opinion on something. So again, as a customer, that's what you gain. You can get my opinion, sort of like Andy did. Nebraska money line and Florida Atlantic money line. Then you can get my opinion on them. I'll do it on here. That's the point of doing a live show. I want the interaction. I emailed you why I can't change bookies, but can you go online and do the bookie? Let me check your email. I mean, you should be able to go on Bodog, no? All right. Well, you got next week's plays. You should be able to get those in. Let's see. I don't. Well, there's Utah State. I don't understand. Do they not take teasers? So you got everything with Charlotte, Florida Atlantic, and Nevada, New Mexico State, and Utah State. The line's there. I don't understand. Yeah, I hate them too, but why doesn't your bookie? It shows he's got the line here. He's got Utah State 26. Oh, normal bets. Well, I guess teasers are a real bad play if they won't take them, huh? What the fuck? Yeah, I know you hate those, but try to find something that you can make your bets with. Yeah, I see. Well, play it straight then. Just lay the 26. Shouldn't be close. I mean, 26 to 21. I look for them win by 40. So does your bookie not take teasers at all, or just that game? So we got to find you a bookie that will take teasers. See, this is where I laugh. People will say, "Oh, teasers are a sucker bet." Yet, why doesn't the bookie take them, and why does MGM's odds on them go up to 13 to 10 if they're such a bad bet and such a sucker bet? It's just like gold. Nobody likes gold, but the central banks somebody just bought a $50 million order on gold. Well, why? It's no good. It's a piece of crap. Why would anybody own it? They just bought a $50 million order on gold and two other $5 million on gold. And the Russians keep buying gold and the Chinese keep buying gold, but it's no good. It's just like teasers. So that's my counter. Some games I can, if the line is low, I tease. Yeah, okay. We'll put them with USC or one of the locks next week. Otherwise, just play Utah State straight. It really won't matter. I mean, they're either going to win by 50 or they're going to win by 10. I mean, for it to fall right in that 21 is very slim. But Utah State will kill them. So don't worry, we'll figure it out. But the other ones next week are bigger games. You shouldn't have a problem playing them. Again, anybody want to buy? www.teaserking.com. You want the year? It's $750. You get for $650. Otherwise, there's weekly packages and monthly packages, college or pro or both, or you can buy the locks, whatever you like. Just go to the purchase picks. Yeah, Charlotte, I think that'll be over by 3/4. Middle of third quarter, they'll be over. Anyway, stay away from these money lines. Maybe in the pro. Well, the pros are the hardest because I can't even tell you who's going to win half the games. They're so inconsistent. The coaching's so bad. The quarterbacks are so bad. You got freaking Jalen Hurts and Tagliabue in the pros. I got Rising from Utah, Van Dyke from Miami of Florida, and McCall from Charlotte are better than those two quarterbacks. So what a joke. So the NFL will get better with those in it next year. All right, G. Well, I'm glad you got the bets in. Don't worry about it. Well, I know it's. Well, I certainly don't like FanDuel and all this MGM. Done never bet at MGM. Their odds, you're laying 13-10 on a teaser that at William Hill, I think on college. Now I know when I was there, it was even money. They didn't have juice on college teasers, but if I played college with the pro, they would juice me on the pros at 11-10. But be careful. They're trying to really scam everybody, so they're making the odds. That's what you got to be careful with on FanDuel and the other one. You got to be careful of the odds that you're laying 13-10 on a straight bet. Stay away from those. They're crap. You shouldn't lay more than 11-10. Now, I don't know. I mean, again, it's all getting weird and everybody's going bankrupt, all these companies. So be careful. Well, good luck, G. Again, that's all really to play today. And again, it's just week one. There's a few games, but week two we'll get going, or next week we'll have that, and then I'll give a pro recap after today's exhibition. And again, with the next week, it's going to be so many others in the pros, because you cannot have the bye and you're not even playing. Like, if you don't play your quarterback this week, you're a freaking idiot. And then the bye the next week, you're starting quarterback who you have not played a lot in the preseason anyway. Look at Brady. He missed the first 2 weeks, and maybe he plays a quarter. I don't know. But I'm sorry. You cannot get timing and rhythm down with your receivers without practice. And you can't do it in practice. You need game speed. So, again, week 1 and 2 of the NFL is preseason as far as I'm concerned. Then you finally, about week 3, you finally get the real teams. After you get 50 pulled hamstrings and knee injuries because the guys aren't in shape. They're not in game shape. You cannot get in game shape unless you play the games. And these practices that they play are not games, right? So the Lions and Indy practice together. Well, they're not playing full speed. Aren't you risking an injury there? So it must just be two-hand touch or something. I don't know. I don't know what these practices are, but they're not exhibition games. So anyway, we'll have to get a line on the NFL, but that'll be in 2 weeks. Derek, hey Derek, you so many games, you really don't need preseason if you're true professional. You always need practice, Derek. I mean, look at a professional golfer. Jack Nicklaus. Why do you go to the practice? You're Jack Nicklaus. You don't need practice practice times. Just go out to the course and play. You still gotta. It's the muscle memory. It's the timing. Like, it's not that you're not like Tom Brady. Does he need it? He needs to throw to his receivers to keep the timing, to keep the practice. You watch Brady when they're on the sidelines for 5 minutes. He's throwing the ball. Aaron Rodgers. Well, why? They're the best because they still need they need that feel, the timing. I golf. I couldn't just go out to the course and golf without at least going to the putting green and chipping and putting. And then I play very well, but I can't just walk out to the first tee and play good. You need to get the timing down and the rhythm. That's what you need. It's not really, Tom Brady doesn't really need the preseason to learn how to pass, although half these guys, Tagliabue and Jalen Hurts, these guys definitely need the preseason because they're not even close to being professionals. So yes, a true professional, a Brady, a Rodgers, a Mahomes, probably don't need the practice except for getting like Mahomes. He doesn't have Derek Hill this year. He's got to get used to whoever the new guy is, right? They got to learn each other. That's something that you need practice on. First three games are not all that used. Just don't fall back 0-3. No, I'm talking about betting them, right? I don't know who they are. I learned the teams. Denver's got Russell Wilson. I got to learn that. Seattle doesn't have Russell Wilson. I got to learn that. So you're learning the teams, and you don't get a read in the preseason like you used to. So how do I learn the team? Same thing in college. I don't know anything about Northwestern Nebraska this year. That's your stats, but I don't know how they are this year. Now, I have a pretty good understanding of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, because they're pretty consistent each year. But Louisiana Tech, they're going to a whole new passing offense. Well, maybe it takes a few weeks. Hawaii's got a new coach and quarterback. So you got to see them for a few weeks to get used to each other. They're not huge, but they are, like you said, if they go 0-3. But from a betting standpoint, from a Teaserking standpoint, I got to know the team. Like the Jets, they lost their quarterback. They got White. How good he was? Pretty good last year. Tennessee, San Diego, we know. Oakland, we know. The Rams, we know. So it's not those teams, but Atlanta, who's their quarterback? Nobody. New Orleans, new coach, new quarterback. So you've got a lot of you want to sees. Now we know Kamara at New Orleans. We just Winston's terrible. So that's all I'm saying. Now you know the team, and then you can, because it's important to know the team to make the bet. I need to know who I'm betting on and who I can trust. So yeah, you don't want to go 0-3. You probably won't make the playoffs. But I certainly, if I was the coach, I would certainly, if it was Hurts or Tagovailoa or Jared Goff or Mariota, this guy be playing half the game this week. He needs the practice, especially if there's no game next week. So you want me to sit the guy out today? There's a bye next week, so he's going to sit for 3 weeks, and you're going to expect him week 1 to just go in? No way. You can see in the playoffs when they used to rest Peyton Manning, so he wouldn't play the last week. Then there'd be the bye, and then they'd go and lose the first playoff game because they are out of sync because they've lost their timing because of that. Pros have 17 games. Try not to get the main players hurt like Baltimore, who coach should be fired. Yeah, he win preseason but lose regular season. Not smart. I don't have a problem winning the preseason if he's doing it with his backup players. I think he should be fired because he plays Lamar Jackson. I don't think Lamar Jackson's a very good quarterback. He's a good runner. Maybe you have him as your running back, but not as a quarterback. He can't throw. You need balance in college or pro, and you need to run big and pass and confuse the defense. That's what I don't like about the Baltimore coach. I mean, he ain't winning shit with Lamar Jackson. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. And the year before, the first few years, they didn't win a playoff game. Then they beat a terrible team 2 years ago. And then, so he won 1 game and then they lost. He's not a playoff quarterback. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl. He's a fast guy who can't throw. He shouldn't be your quarterback. I don't agree with this. Try not to get the main players hurt. It's football. It's everybody. If you're playing, the whole roster's injured. Sprained ankles, sprained knees, hurt foot, hurt fingers, everywhere. They're all hurt, but they all take the needle. So everybody on the team's hurt. You can't prevent it. It's a physical game. It's guys running into each other, getting tackled. It's the nature of it. You can't prevent injuries. So you got to get the timing down and everything else, and you got to get guys that'll play injured. That's just the nature, and that's why you got to have good reserves. Lamar Jackson was MVP, really not Jackson coaching. Lamar Jackson's really He's MVP because he ran. He's not MVP. Uh, what the fuck is this? Um, sorry, I don't know what the fuck this is. Jesus Christ. Trying to teach a class here. I don't need this shit. But Lamar Jackson, I get he was MVP. I didn't agree with it. I don't think he's better than Brady. I don't think he's better. He's a bargain, but he's not a good quarterback. He's a good running back. He's a fast guy, but in the NFL, the guys are faster. So I like a guy like Mahomes, Russell Wilson. Those are your good quarterbacks, right? Those guys throw the ball on a dime. Aaron Rodgers, of course, Brady. Dan Fouts, Marino. Look at tell me a running quarterback that's done anything. You've had the guys on, you had the guys on Dante Culpepper. The guy on Tennessee ran a lot. McNair, what did he do? McNair got to a Super Bowl, and he was okay. He was decent passing the ball, but you don't win with a running quarterback. Really not Jackson coaching. No, I think he was the MVP because he ran, and they were all enamored by it, but he certainly wasn't the best quarterback in the league. Nobody's better than Rodgers and Brady. He's not even close to those guys, and they're the guys who win. Well, for what they paid, they got the rookie contract. Now, if you notice, he's done with that, and now there's the negotiation, and they don't want to pay him because they know they don't win with that. It was a gimmick. They thought he was like Garoppolo. No, the other guy, the guy in the 49ers. I can't think. They thought he was like that, but he doesn't throw the ball well. Nobody will pick. I saw an article that Tampa should sign him because Brady's getting old. Tampa's got the best quarterback. They got freaking Kyle Trask from Florida. That guy's going to be a superstar. Lamar Jackson, all you want is what Al Davis said, just win. How many games did Harbaugh lose because of stupid-ass coaching? Well, Derek, the bottom line is you want to win. I don't like Harbaugh as a coach. I think he's a terrible coach because he's taking Lamar. He had the guy from Penn State who was much better. He did good at Penn State. They scored 30 points a game. He comes in and he lights it up, and he goes with Jackson. And now the Penn State guy's on Arizona. Watch for him to play. And I found my guy, Will Greer. He's on Dallas. He is better than what the fuck? He's better than Prescott, right? But they won't play him. So you hope Prescott gets hurt. Will Greer goes in, and he'll light it up. That was like my Kellen Moore thing. He was better than Stafford, but they wouldn't play him. Then he goes to Dallas. He plays one game, throws for 450 yards. There you go, Kellen Moore. Then he breaks his ankle. And now he's their offensive coordinator. Yeah, Harbaugh is not, and I don't understand this preseason stuff. Really, it's only if you're putting in a new system and they need time with it. But the NFL is so bad now, and I'm sick of hearing, "Oh, we can't get this guy injured or that guy." We're so afraid of injuries. It's the NFL. It's all injuries. People play. Jack Youngblood played with a broken ankle in the Super Bowl. Terrell Owens played with a broken ankle in the Super Bowl. They get injured. They play. I mean, Jesus Christ. It's football. They know they're playing a contact sport. They know they're getting injured. They take the needle and off they go. So unless it's a broken leg where you can't walk, that's okay. So you have to um, you have to understand that. But that's not. Yeah, I mean, most of the coaches are idiots in the NFL. And what really pisses me off is this. What is it? I want to call it algorithm, but it's that whole Moneyball thing where they're like in baseball, we'll shift. Yeah, like the guy's not good enough to hit the ball the other way. Really? I mean, I could. What do you mean the guys aren't good enough to hit the other way? So they go too much to the analytics. That's what it is. The analytics is stupid. It doesn't work. How many championships did Oakland won with analytics? None. And I don't want a bunch of guys walking so I can burn the other pitcher out. This is their big thing. It sounds like Oklahoma or the Oklahoma coach. We're going to run everybody deep, and then we're going to have a running quarterback, and the linemen won't be able to keep up until we play Alabama or Georgia or a good team. Then they'll spy me, and then I since my offense is bullshit, I can't do anything. But the analytics, they don't work. They certainly don't work in football. All this passing, you need a running back. It rests your defense, and you can send the red zone. That's why you need a running back. That doesn't show up in analytics. Analytics is bullshit. In baseball, first of all, every team has 13 pitchers. You know how many really good pitchers are available? Maybe 30. And you want every team to have 13. So most teams have bullshit pitching. Then you don't have a bench. And then your bench, I look at the Tigers lineup, they got 6 guys that don't hit 200. What the fuck? That's analytics? Well, they walk a lot. Well, great. How many games did the Tigers win? You got to have hitters. You got to have 300 hitters that have RBIs. And then you have this, OPS, which doesn't even, it's not even, the analog doesn't even make sense. And, it's how many hits versus, and then how many extra base hits. Well, fuck, just call batting average and then call it extra base hits. But when you confuse, because then they'll see it's at 600 and they'll think, oh, well, compared to batting average, look at that. It doesn't mean anything. So when the guy gets a hit, he hits a home run. Okay. Or you can look at batting average and look at his home runs. And then, geez, I want a guy who hits 300 and hits 30 home runs. It's the same fucking thing. It doesn't produce winners, and no team wins with it. I mean, you win because you have good hitters and you have good. Really, it's Baltimore Orioles. You have good pitching. Earl Weaver, good. Give me 4 good 20-game winners, and Boog Powell and Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson, and I'll win. Or the Pirates. That's how you win. You don't win with a bunch of pitchers that are terrible and hitting, and a bunch of hitters who hit 200. Oh my God, it's just, I hate this analytics and how you use it in football. Sorry, Derek. Just like coach for the Chargers, stop this going for it all the time, gambling his team. Yeah, I agree. These 4th and 1s at your own 30, it cost him in the playoffs because he went for it and didn't make it. And I'll tell you, as soon as I see that and they don't make it, the game's over. The other team scores and the game's over. The other thing is the risk reward. Okay, 4th and 1 in my own 29, and I go for it. If I get it, I got 1st and 10 at my own 30. What did I gain? Nothing. What did I risk? The ball game, because if I don't get it, I just handed the ball to the team at my own 29 who's going to score. And you think because it's all passing, they're going to score a lot of points. I don't see that in my statistics for the NFL. I have very few over teams. Most teams are Z's and unders. Look at Cleveland, Carolina, under. Oakland's an even team. Minnesota is an even team. Tennessee. Where's my over teams? With all this passing and all this analytics, the only over team I got, San Diego. I got 1 over team. So that means they score a lot and give up a lot. The other teams, My A teams are Buffalo, the Rams, Cincinnati, and then they're going to light it up, and Kansas City, and Tampa, and Dallas. So you have very few good teams anyway, because if you don't run the ball, what are you going to do? You can't score if you don't run it. You can't pass it in from the 15-yard line. There's no room. The guys are fast. The pass rush is just ignoring the run. They're going to get to you. So if you don't have a running back, then you're screwed. I don't know who drafted the kid from Georgia, Cook. It was Cook's brother from Minnesota. That guy's a great player. So watch for him. And that's why Tennessee, as bad as Tannehill is, they have Henry. So at least they can score with Henry. But you've got to be able to run the ball. That's why in college I look for the balanced teams, the Oklahoma State, the Baylor, the Oregons, the teams that are balanced. Even Ohio State are the teams that win. Georgia, Alabama did not win. They are not balanced. There's too much passing. They don't rest their defense. Now, they do have enough running to score in the red zone, Alabama. But they've gone too much passing. That's why they haven't won a title in years. But absolutely, you can only win with an Aaron Rodgers, a Brady. It's like Brady wins all the Super Bowls. There's very little competition. And he knows. See, Brady gets to the line, and Rodgers and probably Mahomes, and they go, oh, I'm going to throw it to the left. I'm throwing to the right. Down the middle is open. Without taking the snap, they know where they're throwing. Do you think Lamar Jackson or Tagovailoa or Hurts has a clue where they're going with the ball? No, they get the snap. Maybe there's pressure. They can't read blitzes. Josh Allen's notorious for can't reading a blitz. They don't read the blitz. The blitz comes, all of a sudden they're dancing around. Oh, I'm going to run for 5 yards. That's not what the fucking play's for. The fucking play's for a 10-yard pass. But they don't get where to throw it. They don't get when they're being blitzed. That's why they're not good quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, you think he's got a clue? You think the guy calls an audible because he reads a blitz? No, he takes the ball, and if they give him room, he runs. What kind of crap is that? So you put a spy on him like San Diego did, and that's it. Scott Frost should be on his last leg. He must win today. Nebraska should win. I'm not too sure about that. They got a new quarterback. Scott Frost was on his last leg last year. He should never have left UCF. I'm not sure how good a quarterback coach he is. He and Mackenzie Milton, the best quarterback in college for 3 years till he broke his knee and couldn't play and he just retired. Again, is Belichick a good coach? Or I had Tom Brady who won all the games for me because he wouldn't lose because he's a great quarterback. Now we're seeing Belichick's not a good coach. What happens? He didn't, he made the playoffs with Matt Jones and then got killed by Buffalo. The year before, he didn't make the playoffs, and Brady's winning the Super Bowl. So it's Brady. So the coach gets too much credit for the good quarterback. Andy Reid's a perfect example where he's a terrible coach, goes to the playoffs 4 years in a row with Philadelphia, and they get killed all 4 years. 1 year they go to the Super Bowl, and then goes to Kansas City, and he stumbles into Mahomes because he had Adam Fisher, I think, and then he stumbled, and then he gets Mahomes, and now all of a sudden they win a Super Bowl, and it's Andy Reid. No, I don't think so. It's Mahomes. So if Mahomes moved on, you think Andy Reid would make the playoffs? Probably not, but you think Mahomes would make the playoffs? Absolutely. So I'd like to see more for San Diego. Herbert doesn't do as much as he should. He's a very strong quarterback. Let's look at NFL quarterbacks. I don't like Allen. Stafford's a choke. Winston sucks. Mariota sucks. Jones sucks. Tagovailoa sucks. Garoppolo sucks. Fields sucks. Ryan sucks. Mills sucks. Ryan's okay, Matt Ryan. Trubisky shouldn't even be in the league. Joe Burrow, he's the star. So he's the next guy. Jackson's terrible. Wilson got hurt for the Jets. They'll go with White. Hurts is terrible. Goff's the biggest choke in the league. Watson, who's good, is out, so they'll probably go to Dobbs. Mayfield, I don't think he's terrible. Trevor Lawrence is terrible. Wentz is terrible. Carr I like, and Herbert I like, and Aaron Rodgers. Cousins is a choke. Jones on the Giants. What the fuck did they draft that guy for? He wasn't anything in college. Tannehill sucks. Mahomes good. Kyler Murray. I'd rather see McSorley. That's the Penn State quarterback. McSorley's better than Murray. Brady, and then you have Trask, who's going to be a very good quarterback. Prescott, I think Greer's better. The kid from Florida who went to West Virginia is a stud. Russell Wilson, and then Drew Lock, Geno Smith, and Eason on Seattle. The fuck? Now, Drew Lock, I didn't mind at Missouri, but I don't know. Maybe he'll get better with Coach Pete. Come on, Professor. You can't compare Jackson to Brady. I'm not comparing them. And he's doing. I'm not a Jackson fan. You are. That's okay. I'm just trying to be. I'm just being objective, right? I don't like him because he's not a good thrower. I'd rather have Russell Wilson or Mahomes, who can kind of run, but they're quarterbacks. He can't read a defense, so. That's why I'm saying Jackson in the playoffs, he's not going to get you to the Super Bowl. He's not going to win a Super Bowl. He wants to run too much. That's what I'm saying. No, of course you can't. The only one you can compare to Brady is Rodgers and Montana and Marino, superstar quarterbacks. Brady's a superstar, and I'm not comparing Jackson to him, but Jackson to me is a running back. I would not have made him a quarterback. He did nothing at Louisville. He had a few good games, and then when he played Clemson and the bigger games, he didn't show up. They'd get shut out. Once speed gets involved, you've taken away his asset. His asset's not his arm. That's what I'm saying. So I don't want a running back at quarterback because he won't throw the ball to the receivers. He won't read the play before the snap. He can't read the blitz. That's what I don't like about him as far as that. And the running quarterbacks don't do anything in the NFL because there's too much. The defensive end's as fast as him. I'm who he is. He couldn't throw in college. That's exactly what I'm saying. He's not. I want Russell Wilson or Mahomes over Jackson, and I'm going to pay them. And they won Super Bowls because they can move, but Mahomes isn't a runner. He can run, but that's not his primary. He'd rather be in the pocket hitting Tyreek Hill with the 60-yard pass like he did in the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl with that pass against the Niners. The Niners have coaching problems, and Goff, of course, choked. Or no, he didn't. Garoppolo choked. Whoever the Niner quarterback was choked. But this is where I question the Niner coach. He kept throwing the ball when you need to just run the clock. He did that. That's how Atlanta blew the 28-3 lead. He gets the ball late. They get the first down to Julio Jones. And what's he doing? Run the ball 3 times in the line, kick a field goal. You're in field goal range. Kick the field goal. You're up 9 or 10. Game's over. No, he's going to throw passes, get holding penalties, and end up punting. How stupid is this guy? It's like going for it on 4th down, as you said, Derek. It doesn't make sense to go for it on 4th and 1 at your own 29. There's no reward. I don't know that the only time is maybe at the opponent's 40. It keeps the drive alive. It keeps your defense rested, and then you can move in for a field goal or you keep the ball. But at your own 29-yard line, you're out of your mind. What do you gain? You get the ball at the 30. You're not even at midfield. You've got to punt the ball. So all these coaches in the 70s and 80s who were really like Bill Walsh and Parcells, they would never go for a 4th and 1 at their own. Before the 50, you've got to punt and play defense. I guess these teams don't have good defenses, so they would rather keep the ball because they think that they're just going to keep driving. Baltimore won with Falco. Absolutely. Well, they won because of their defense. Falco, he just did enough to score a touchdown. And when you had, Ray Lewis and the superstar safety who's from Miami, who I can't think of his name, the coach was smart enough to play to his strength, which was his defense. Flacco is just, you throw an interception, you're pulled. So, yes, he can do that. But does Baltimore have that defense? But Lamar Jackson turns it over too much. There's a big difference between Lamar Jackson and Flacco. Okay, Flacco and they had that 2,000-yard rusher who wasn't the quarterback. So, yeah, you're getting a little bit. I understand you can win with a okay quarterback, but it doesn't happen often. It takes a superstar defense, it takes the Georgia defense and a good running attack. So you don't need Flacco to throw it. So it's not the same because Lamar Jackson they don't run. Now, granted, all their running backs got hurt last year, but they don't have the defense either. So you've got to look at the whole picture, Derek. It's the whole, I can run and play defense. Anybody can hand the ball off. That's a different thing than Baltimore is now. You got Lamar Jackson. It's like Allen at Buffalo, right? Josh Allen. He runs way too much, and he's a big guy. What are you running for? Now, does he read zone? Does he read blitzes? No. Can he avoid a blitz? No. That was my knock against him at Wyoming. The fucking Air Force sacked him 8 times in a game. Air Force. They sacked him 8 times. He got sacked. He didn't know what to do. He had no idea the blitz was coming. The blitz would come, and they would sack him 8 fucking times, the Air Force. He was good when he had the 2,000-yard rusher who's on Green Bay. Then he was okay because then it was mixed up. But don't think you can have a bad quarterback like a Jackson and win because Flacco did, or some teams without a great quarterback. If you notice, those teams always won because of defense. You got to have a Ray Lewis on your defense and Ed West, the safety from Miami. See, if you have those superstars on defense, you want to play like Georgia last year. They played to their defense. We're not going to take big chances. We're going to run and throw little passes to the tight end, and good luck scoring on our defense. That's a whole different thing. Baltimore does not have the number 1 defense. They're not close. Baltimore, what do I got them as? They're an under team. They don't score, and they have a good defense. Not a great defense, but they don't win with it. If Jackson's throwing interceptions, too many turnovers. In the Lion game last year, he did nothing, and then so it's 4th and 17 at their own 17, and the Lions do a prevent defense where they rush 2 guys, and then he can hit a miracle 18-yard pass for the first down, and they kick a 67-yard field goal to win the game. Well, why was the game even close? It's the fucking Lions. Jackson did nothing in the game, and at the end, he hit a lucky 18-yard pass for a first down because the Lions weren't. The play before, the Lions pressured him and sacked him because he can't read a freaking blitz. So that's all I'm saying. From an objective standpoint, he's not a good quarterback. I get you like him. I understand that, but that's not. I don't like him. Got to be a little lucky. I'm following you, Strong Fisher. I'm happy to bet. I bet the Stars. I'm going to bet, week 1, I'm betting Brady. I'm going to bet Mahomes. I'm going to bet Rodgers. That's fine. I might bet Jackson against the Jets because the Jets, Wilson's out. He hurt his knee. So I'd love nothing more than to bet Baltimore. They're only laying 7. I can tease them to 1 if I think that they can win. Maybe that's a good play. I don't have enough confidence in Jackson, but we'll see. This should be a game he can win, but he does a lot of running, and I think they're getting wise to him, and we'll see. I wish he was a better quarterback, and I'd bet him. I bet Montana to death. To me, he's the best quarterback that's ever played. And then Unitas is up there, and Brady, of course, Marino. Marino never won the Super Bowl because they didn't run, and their defense wasn't that good. That's why they didn't win. They didn't have that stud defense. Notice when Montana won, and notice when Brady wins. they have the number 1 or 2 ranked defense in the league. That's when they win. Brady went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl. Why? Because he didn't have a good defense. Well, I guess Belichick didn't show up with the defense those years, or there was injuries or something, but you had Brady and you couldn't win for 10 fucking years. So when you get a number 1, number 2 defenses, when the Montanas win, when the Bradys win, I mean, Phil Simms fucking won because he had Lawrence Taylor, twice. He didn't even win the second one. They beat Buffalo with Hostetler, which goes to your point, Derek. Hostetler was a decent quarterback. You won because of Lawrence Taylor and those linebackers. That's why the Giants won. So get a superstar on your team and play to the superstar. And I got no problem. Lamar Jackson's not a superstar. So I hope they beat the Jets. But look at them last year. They got into it. They couldn't beat a good team. Buffalo couldn't beat a good team either. So that's all I'm saying. Just beware of those. You can take Pete Carroll. He did that stupid crap in Super Bowl. She hasn't. Yeah, well, and they didn't sign the Beast, and Richard Sherman left, and half their studs have left now. So Seattle's done. But yeah, I mean, he should have ran the Beast. I would have ran the Beast in a heartbeat. You saw a goal line. See, what happened is New England went to a goal line defense, which means they had 6 defensive linemen in. And apparently the Beast against that formation didn't do well. But I blame Russell Wilson for not reading the coverage and not saying, well, wait, this isn't open. I can't throw there. And I think it was open. It was just such an obvious formation and play that the guy read the formation. But yes, I like Pete Carroll. Although he did fuck up at USC against Texas. He lost them that game. The same thing. So, yeah, he won the Super Bowl. He won that. He killed Denver, but that was all defense. And the defense couldn't handle Brady, and that's what my point with Brady. Gets rid of the ball in 2 seconds, he can counter the defense. Brady's probably the only quarterback that would have beat the Ray Lewis Baltimore team we're talking about because he did it. But Ed Reed would have still picked him a couple times. Actually, he had problems with Ed Reed later on. But, yeah, you go to your strength. You go to your stars. We bet the superstars. That's the key to betting. You play the best team. That's why these teams are bad for so long, like the Lions. They never have. Since Barry Sanders, okay, they had Calvin Johnson, but since then they don't have stars. And you need stars to win. You need a Brady. Look at Brady. New England goes to Tampa. They win there. Well, Tampa didn't even make the playoffs the year before. Brady shows up. Boom. Now you got Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is going to win you 5 Super Bowls soon too. That guy's very good, very charismatic. He's a winner. I can't believe he didn't win the game at the end, or at least kick the field goal. So I'm very shocked that happened. He's a winner, and that'll be our next target is Cincinnati. They're only laying 6 to Pittsburgh. Who's Pittsburgh's quarterback? Trubisky, Rudolph, or Pickett? Yeah, okay. We're taking Cincinnati there. So, I trust Burrow more than I trust Lamar Jackson, though. Let's put it that way. Burrow is a pure passer. He can run a little bit, but he's going to pass the Chase all day long, and you got to defend Chase. You don't have that at Baltimore. Lamar Jackson doesn't make those passes that you got to worry about the receivers. That's my point. That's what you're worried about is I'm worried about Chase. Even in the Super Bowl, he hit the other guy, right? He didn't even throw right off the second half. When the second half started, he hit that long pass to the other receiver and touchdown. Lamar Jackson's not doing that. He doesn't have the capability of reading the defense, reading the receiver, trusting the receiver, and making a pinpoint pass. That's my problem with Lamar Jackson. That's why I like Joe Burrow and these other guys. So Joe Burrow's the next, and then you got McCall coming in. You got Rising from Utah. You got Van Dyke from Miami. You got Hartman from Wake Forest coming in. Those guys will be betting on. You got McSorley, hopefully he starts. I would bet on him. Trask at Tampa, well, when Brady's done. And then you got my guy Will Greer from Florida, very superstar. Now he's on Dallas. Carolina let him go. Like, yeah, you know what you're doing. So those are your next guys. Woodside's not bad for Tennessee from Toledo. He put up a lot of yards. Kelly Munn, I don't know about. I know Jordan Love sucks. Let's see. I don't really see much. Trevor Lawrence sucks. Just bet against him. Watson's okay. Mayfield, he's not bad. He really isn't. Actually, you're going to hate me for this, Derek, but I would prefer if Baltimore went to Huntley, the quarterback from Utah. He runs a little bit. He's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Let me put it that way. If I had a choice, I would start Huntley. That's why I wouldn't pay Jackson. I would rather pay Huntley. Huntley is the real deal from Utah. So Pickett probably will be okay with Pittsburgh. Houston has crap, and more crap. God, it's pathetic, the Bears. Trevor Siemian from Northwestern, Fields and Peterman, 3 idiots. And then Brock Purdy at San Francisco is a much better quarterback than Garoppolo and Lance. Bridgewater should be starting at Miami. Zapke's a good quarterback. I will bet Zapke over Jones at New England. He had 52 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions for Western Kentucky last year. Jesus Christ. And you keep taking the Alabama and Ohio State quarterbacks because they run a system where they're going to score 50 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Brady was dead in the Super Bowl. He had taken off his helmet till he saw that play. Little luck. What are we talking about, Derek? Brady was dead in the I'm sorry, I don't know what Super Bowl you're talking about. Why pay Arizona quarterback all that money and McSorley is good? Yeah, well, that's my point. And he showed you in the playoffs. See, really, it's in the quarterback. You don't care him in the regular season. Is he going to win you a Super Bowl? Can he win you playoff games? And you saw that Murray didn't. He choked, right? He gets in there, throws a pick 6 from his own 1-yard line. What the fuck is that? What are you doing throwing the ball? They can't read the fucking defense because at Oklahoma and Alabama and Ohio State, they don't teach. Here's the blitz. Here's how you get away. They just look at the line. They go, if there's 8 men on the line, we're going to throw it over the middle. And if there's 7, we're going to run it. That's what they do. They don't teach. This is how you read a blitz. And this is what you do with it. What does Brady do? He reads the blitz. He goes to the wide receiver and he says, you're going to make a quick cut, and I'm going to throw to you the ball in 2 seconds because this guy's blitzing because I know he's blitzing. So the guy blitzes. The receiver cuts off the route, goes behind the blitzer. Brady gets rid of the ball in 2 seconds and hits the guy. That's how you read a blitz and handle it. So I don't know, Derek. Brady was dead in the Super Bowl. He had what is that? Seahawks and well, that's because Seattle had the ball. He didn't need his helmet on, and it was like 5 seconds left in the game. Well, yeah, I mean, if Seattle just runs, they scored a touchdown, but Brady had his helmet off because I think there was 10 seconds left. So he knows if they score the touchdown or whatever, that's the game. So he knew that. It's not like it was third quarter. But, yeah, it was purely luck. It was stupidity, really. You run the beast, even if you had to run them 2 more times. I think they had timeouts. Or run that option with Russell Wilson. That's okay to run that play, the read option, because Russell Wilson was very good at it. Sort of like Quentin Flowers at South Florida. Nobody could tackle that guy on the option like that. They'd run the read option on 3rd and 1. South Florida got it every time. And Russell Wilson's very good at that read option. That play, I would have done the read option with beast mode and Russell Wilson ahead of that pass, and that would have worked for sure. So yeah, the pass was just stupidity. Because they read the cover. They read the defensive guy read the play. He says, "Oh, I saw him in the two wide receiver. I knew that was the play." Well, run an option then, or run the beast. Even if you know he's getting the ball, you ain't going to stop him. So yeah, that was incredibly stupid. But yeah, Brady. It's not like he played great in the game. They were down 10 points and he won it. But that's not. That was a different story. That was just a bad play call that in other words, play to your strength. His strength was the beast, play to him, or the Russell Wilson option run. That's the play that you want to, that's your strength, not this pass that the guy didn't even break up. The receiver, where's the receiver getting in the way so the guy couldn't get there and not letting the interception happen? But I agree, why even throw that pass? You've got to run the ball inside the 10-yard line, period. So that's what I would have done. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of bad coaches out there that don't know what to do. They don't have they're doing analytics. Oh, well, it says we should go for it on 4th and 1 from our own. See, that's the analytic part. The odds on us getting it are 72%. Bullshit. It's the odd. There's different odds, like going for 2. They all go for 2 because the analytics say go for 2. It's bullshit. The odds on you getting it when you need it are about 5%. The odds on going for 2, like in the first quarter, like Pittsburgh would go for 2. And if you miss it, it's 6-0 instead of 7, and then they score and kick the extra point at 7-6. What the fuck kind of analytics? What are you listening to analytics on going for 2 or going 4th down because it says 58% of the time that's just bullshit. That's the problem with the analytics. When Nick first joined me, he kept going and he wanted to do formulas. And I says, you can't do formulas in football. And he'd argue with me and I'd say, you got to do it the way I do it because you got to get the emotion in it. Is it a revenge game? How do you factor that in? How do you factor injuries? How do you factor a team off of a loss? How do you factor the matchup? You can't just look at average points and come out with some mathematical formula, algorithm, or analytics. It doesn't fucking work in football. You got to know, there used to be the card. Well, we go for 2 if we're down 5 and da-da-da. Bullshit. You never go for 2 because the odds on you getting it when the other team knows you got to go for 2, maybe 5%. There's a difference between the other team knows you need it at the end of a game or just in the middle, but that's not in the analytics. The same thing with baseball. We'll go to the shift. Well, you can't go to the shift with every batter because, you go to the shift with Rod Carew, the guy would get a hit every single time. You'd slap the ball the other way. You can't. It doesn't mean anything. You don't need the shift to stop players. God knows. I played baseball. You didn't shift. You might move. I played short and second, so I might move over behind the bag, but I got a pitcher there. And then at second, I might move up the middle for a right-handed batter, but he ain't hitting it to me anyway. Why should I be on the other side giving him this huge hole? So I'd still get balls at second base. Yeah, that's bullshit analytics. So they don't realize that, and they coach to it, and they hire coaches who are analytics. I don't know any team that's won with analytics. I win with Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. I don't win with fucking analytics with a shitty quarterback. This idiot's back. Mike Tomlin do that stupid crap. Analytics or go for 2. Yeah, he goes for 2 a lot, which is ridiculous. All right. Yeah, and you see the problem, but he did it early, and it's funny. He did it the first time, and then he wouldn't do it after, and it was with Roethlisberger, and they had a good 2-point play, but I wouldn't do it. Watch Harbaugh coaching this year. I bet you it's not Jackson, it's stupid coaching. Um, I agree. I don't think Harbaugh's a good coach, but uh, it's still it's, Jackson is no Burrow. We can agree on that. Why? Because if Jackson could throw the ball like Burrow, I would 100% agree with you, but he doesn't. So, um, so would you rather have Jackson or Joe Burrow? Let me put it simple. And then the question is why? Jackson's a fast runner who can throw, can't hit the broadside of a barn, will score in the red zone. I'll give him that. But Joe Burrow will hit Chase for a 30-yard touchdown, and he's done it in big times. He beat Tennessee with it. He beat Kansas City down, and then in the Super Bowl, they had the lead late. So, what would Lamar Jackson have done against the Rams? He wouldn't have done anything. Aaron Donald would have been all over the guy. So that's what I'm talking about. Is Harbaugh a good coach? No, I don't think so. Is Jim Harbaugh a good coach? Well, he was at the Niners and Stanford. Then he goes to Michigan, and I've never seen a guy with so many different coordinators every year. Like, what the fuck's going on that you need a new offensive and defensive coordinator every year? But yeah, I agree. He's not good. But see, here's my problem. He instead of keeping McSorley and starting him, he went with Jackson. That's the problem I have with Harbaugh. I just don't think he's a good coach. I think they're running a bad offense. Well, I get he likes the tight end. Who else likes the tight end? Take Tagovailoa. You need you need the Lynn Swan and Stallworth. You need the Blitnikoff and I want to say Warren Wells, but I know it was the other guy, the fast guy on Oakland. I'm having a mind blank. Anyway, you need to use the receiver so the defense plays defense, and so he's a running back, Derek. He's not a quarterback. Uh, if his passing gets better, this is the pros, as you've stated. These are professionals. He's not a professional. He doesn't have a professional arm, and he's a professional quarterback. That's my point with him. Would you rather have Joe Burrow or Jackson? I'd rather have Joe Burrow, and I would think a lot of people would prefer him. He's going to pass the ball much, much better. Where Jackson's not going to beat you on a 50-yard pass very often. He can, but he doesn't know how to read the defense well enough. That's my problem with him, and he's more of a running back, not a he's more of a running back than he is a quarterback. So that's my problem with him. It's just maybe he gets better, but I don't think I wouldn't have drafted him as a quarterback in the first place because at Louisville, Clemson shut him out. Well, if he's that good, Clemson, he beat Clemson like Burrow. Burrow beat Clemson, beat Alabama, beat Georgia. I remember Professor Bradshaw sucked. He had Swan, really. Joe Gruden Bradshaw was terrible quarterback. They beat the Raiders when they went to the Super Bowl in '75. He had 8 turnovers. He didn't have Bradshaw early. He had him in '74. So the first 4 years he didn't have Bradshaw. I don't know if Joe Gilliam was better. He had his problems too. He had some games and then that. I agree. Bradshaw was horrible. I'd rather have Stabler all day. Greasy was okay, but he just throw the ball to Warfield and ran it. Len Dawson, I think, was better. Um, Not LaMonica, but Stabler definitely was better. Staubach was better. Bradshaw, like in that one Super Bowl when Swan made all these incredible catches, is the pass. Then you can talk about bad passes. His passes sucked. Swan still made the great catches. That's how good Swan was. But see, that's my point. If Lamar Jackson had a Swan, could he do the same thing? Could he throw it to him and get Swan open? And that's where I'm having a problem. Is I don't see it. I don't even know who's Baltimore's receivers this year. I don't know that they have a good one, but I wouldn't think that. But again, you haven't answered the Burrow question, so I'm going to take that as Burrow. This is the problem in the pros. I mean, you just go through and their quarterbacks are so bad. Fields and Jones and Tagliabue. What the fuck are you thinking that these guys, because they went to Alabama, you think they're good quarterbacks because they run a wide open system with these really fast receivers that, by the way, when they get in the pros, don't do shit. The only Alabama receiver that did anything was Julio Jones. And then for the last 5 years, he's had a pulled hamstring the whole year. The other guy got in a car accident, and the other guys get injured. The guy in Denver quit. So these Alabama receivers are just fast guys that in college it works and makes the quarterback look good. But when the quarterback gets, into the pros, they don't do anything. Who's Bateman? What is it? What is he? I'll give Jackson one more year. Let's watch. But you shouldn't have to. As you stated, these are professionals. You don't come into the pros trying to be a good passer. You learn that in college. Joe Burrow at LSU was an exceptional passer. They lit up Bama, Georgia, Florida. Okay, he lit them up. He's a good passer coming in. That's my problem with Jackson. He's a fast guy. He's a good running back. I would have made him a running back and then said, here, try to defend him with a good quarterback. And now the other team would really be fucked because I got this fast guy at running back and I have a good quarterback who can hit Swan and Stallworth. How do you defend me? You can't. Jackson doesn't do that. That's why he can't, he's the one that has to run. Well, now I just key him, right? What do I spy him, right? That's what San Diego did in the playoff game. And that's what most of these guys do. They spy him. Now he can't run and now he has to pass and he can't pass. That's the problem with Jackson. So I would make Jackson a running back. He's big, he's fast. Absolutely. I mean, that's what most teams, would you make Ezekiel Elliott a quarterback because he can run? Fuck no, he can't pass. He's a great runner. So the good quarterbacks can run a little, but they're not like a Lamar Jackson. He reminds me of Dante Culpepper, who couldn't really throw that well, but he was a good runner, or Michael Vick, who was a good runner, but he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. That's the problem with these guys. Jackson was not supposed to be a quarterback. He told himself he would improve. I think he's improving. Again, he should be a running back. That's about all I can say on it. He's not a good, accurate passer. That's his problem, and it's not something you get better at. You either are or you're not. You either pick up a golf club and you're a good golfer or you're not. You don't learn it. You have that coordination that you are. Lynn Swan was a good receiver because he could jump 15 feet in the air, and he had great hands. And Biletnikoff, Cliff Branch, that's the guy. These guys are either good receivers or not. Paul Warfield had moves you never saw before. It was unbelievable. But he was a receiver, and that's where you put him. But he didn't. He knew that coming to Ohio State, he could do that. That's what you're kind of born with it. Lamar Jackson isn't born with a good eye for throwing. Okay, that's my point to you, Derek. You can't improve it. It's what you're born with. Brady has it. Rodgers has it. Burrow has it. Mahomes has it. How come Mahomes doesn't have to learn to do it? Mahomes does it. Um, Interesting. I saw a Mahomes. I was going through my baseball cards, cleaning up, and I saw a Patrick Mahomes rookie card. His father on the Minnesota Twins in the early '90s. I kept the card, figuring, well, maybe the father's son will be worth something. But Mahomes, I think he tried playing baseball, but he, like Russell Wilson, was a baseball player. They have the arm. They know how to quarterback. Maybe Lamar Jackson needs to play center field and try that. Maybe that'll help his arm. And I'm serious, but he's not. You can't learn it. It's just you know how to do it. I don't learn how to pick games. I just know how to do it. I feel it. I go, this team should beat that team, and it happens over and over again. And I pick very well. When I picked all those locks in the bowl games, 8-0, when I did that, I knew the games. I didn't pick it. I didn't analyze it from a mathematical algorithm or anything. I knew the games were going to win. That's what I've been blessed with. That's why I'm good at picking. I just feel it. It's intuition to me. I know this team's going to win. And Lamar Jackson just doesn't have that. He doesn't know how to throw very well. That's okay. He's just not. I mean, at this point, Derek, he's been 4 or 5 years in the league, and he still can't throw. I mean, what are you going to say? He's going to learn. He should have known it coming in, and then maybe in the first year. What if Jackson wins the Super Bowl with Baltimore? Then what? Well, it depends if he wins it or the defense wins it, or if this team can't win a playoff game, so he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Now, if he went to New England and won a Super Bowl, I'd give him okay, Stafford went to the Rams and won a Super Bowl. I still don't think he's a good quarterback. He sucked at the Lions. He choked in every big game. He never won a playoff game. There was years that all they had to do was they had 5 games left. He had to win 1 game, and he couldn't win 1 game. And so just because Stafford wins a Super Bowl or Flacco wins a Super Bowl, they're not good quarterbacks. So if Jackson were to win a Super Bowl, it would depend how. Now, if all of a sudden he turns into Mahomes or he turns into Russell Wilson or he turns into Rodgers, okay, absolutely. If he can start throwing the ball, running blitzes, and stop running all over the place, I don't like Josh Allen because he runs the ball all over the place. You do not have a quarterback who runs a sweep. I'm sorry. That's just idiotic. Whoever's coaching there should be fired also. That's terrible coaching. And he's not a good quarterback. He has a big arm that doesn't make you a good quarterback. So I don't agree with that. But, I don't think Stafford's a good quarterback and he won a Super Bowl. I still think he's a choke. Stafford played a great Super Bowl with Kupp at the end. He won the game for him, but I don't think Stafford's a great quarterback. He did what he did. He threw the Kupp. He won the game at the end. He's still not a great quarterback. He played at home. He's always been a good homer, but he's not a great quarterback. He's a choke. And he finally won. Now, if the Rams go undefeated and it's because he throws for 350 a game and he has 40 touchdowns and 3 interceptions and they win another Super Bowl on the road, then I'll give Stafford credit. Until then, I don't. Because I've seen it on the Lions where he sucked too many times. You got to, is Flacco a great quarterback because he won a Super Bowl? I don't think so. Who is that other guy on Tampa? I can see his face. I can't. He's on ESPN. Is he a good quarterback because he won the Super Bowl? No, because they had a great defense. If you have a great defense and the quarterback just kind of hands the ball off, makes some little passes, the answer is Stafford beat Brady. Okay, I don't care. He's a choke. For 12 years on Detroit, he choked. So he's not. Yeah, did he beat Brady or did they sack Brady a lot? And Aaron, was it, whatchamacallit? Aaron Little, whatever his name is, their stud defensive end. It's a whole team. The Rams defense beat Brady. Stafford, yeah, he had a good game against him. I'll give you that. And he beat Brady, I think, on the Lions. He beat Brady. When Patricia was there, they beat Brady. Um, so I'm still not sold on Stafford. I'd still much rather have Aaron Rodgers, even though he loses to Brady. Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. He was a choke too, Peyton Manning. He choked at Tennessee. He choked to Florida 4 years in a row. And he choked against Brady all the time. So I don't think Peyton Manning was a good quarterback, but he was a choke, just like Stafford. So, yeah, Manning won a Super Bowl against the Bears and that team. Look at him against Drew Brees. They got handed their lunch. So, I'm looking at things differently than you are, Derek. But you can't sell me on Lamar Jackson. It's like selling me on Dante Culpepper or Michael Vick. They just don't win. And I'm interested in winning. I'm interested in making good picks that win. And I can't trust guys like this to get do I trust them to beat the Jets? No, I don't trust Jackson to beat the Jets. Do I trust Burrow to beat Pittsburgh? Fuck yes, all day long. Aaron Rodgers chokes against San Francisco. Tell me a time he won. Absolutely. But he did win a Super Bowl. He beat Pittsburgh. He did get to the Super Bowl, I think, another time. Lost to Denver, I think. And he wins the NFC North, but I win a ton of money. See, the difference, Derek, is I'm talking about money here. And I'm talking about betting and winning, and I bet and win a lot with Aaron Rodgers and Burrow and Brady. I don't win a lot with Stafford. I don't win a lot with Lamar Jackson. I won a lot with Montana. I won a lot with Lawrence Taylor. That's the difference. I mean, okay, the Redskins, Theismann was a great quarterback. Then they went to the other guys in the late 80s and won a Super Bowl. And they won in the 90s. They won with Doug Williams. Was Doug Williams a great quarterback because he won a Super Bowl? No. Was the other guy, Rippon, was he a great quarterback? No. They won a Super Bowl, but they had a great running. They had Riggins. They had a great defense. Montana, yes, he was great. And McMahon was great. But then after McMahon left, the Bears had the best fucking team, couldn't win in 85, 86, 87. They killed the Giants, go to win the Super Bowl, but McMahon gets out with that fucking defense that should have beat everybody. They couldn't win in 85. They couldn't win in 86. I couldn't believe it. The Giants with Lawrence Taylor won 2 Super Bowls. I don't think Phil Simms and what was the backup? Hostetler, I don't think they were okay. They were pro quarterbacks, but neither of them were runners. This is the thing. You need a quarterback to be a quarterback. He's got to throw the ball, make the defense respect that you can pass deep and you can run. You can't win with just a running quarterback because the defense will blitz you and not respect your passing. That's the point. So I'm talking about money. Aaron Rodgers makes me a lot of money. I'm going to bet him against Minnesota. Maybe I'll bet the game over instead. That's how I win it. But most of these quarterbacks are there now are just terrible. Okay, you're going to bet Mitch Trubisky against Joe Burrow? No way. Jalen Hurts and Goff. I mean, find me a good quarterback there. They both stink. Trevor Lawrence. You think Trevor Lawrence is good? This guy's terrible. The team this year, I'll call it right now, Buffalo, as professors running Josh Allen. Now they won't win. I think Denver and Kansas City are going to win the AFC. Maybe San Diego. Buffalo, you don't win with Josh Allen. I think Kansas City or Denver, although they play each other twice, and it's going to be a tough AFC West. You got San Diego, Denver now, and Kansas City. It's going to be very tough. Cincinnati's out there. Cincinnati's better than Buffalo. Um, Now running again, you're not going to run with running Josh Allen. All you got is blitz the guy, and he can't read it, doesn't know what to do with it. What else? That's it. Now let's look at Henry on Tennessee. Now that I would. So, what would you do if Henry was on Baltimore or Lamar Jackson was on Tennessee? You got a running back like Henry. What would you do, Derek? That's when you need a quarterback because they're going to key on Henry, right? But we all know Henry's the best running back, gets you all these touchdowns. But if I got Lamar Jackson, I can't use Henry because Lamar Jackson's going to run the ball. I don't want him running. I want him giving the ball to Henry 30 times a game. But I need Lamar Jackson to throw the ball downfield so the defense doesn't have 9 guys in the box and Henry can't run. That's probably my biggest point. What do you do with Henry? What do you do if he has Lynn Swann and Stallworth and Jerry Rice? What's he going to do with Jerry Rice on the team? Nobody's going to cover Jerry Rice. You can't get him the ball. That's my point. So Baltimore has weak receivers, and they don't have a running back. So when they do get a running back, then he's going to hand the ball off. They don't respect his passing. You need balance and you need option. You need the defense to go, what the fuck's this guy going to do? He's a great passer. He can hit Jerry Rice. He can hit Lynn Swann, and they can run the ball. And that's now the defense doesn't know how to defend it. That's how the Steelers always won. Franco Harris, or it's going to be Lynn Swann. How do you defend it? You can't do both. And that's my point. So what do you do for Baltimore? Well, I don't have to worry about the pass because I don't got a quarterback on the other team. And he's not going to hand off. He's going to run the ball himself. Maybe he runs it or they run this college option. They're Oklahoma. I don't have to worry about it. That's my point. Run Henry, let Jackson be Jackson. They get Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State. Jackson will be better barring injuries. Okay, so he's going to hand the ball off to Dobbins. I thought that was a good draft pick, Dobbins. See, I don't mind drafting wide receivers and running backs from Ohio State, just not the quarterback. There's so many other good quarterbacks. Thompson Robinson, UCLA, Utah's quarterback. Like I said, Hartman at Wake and Miami's Van Dyke and McCall at Coastal Carolina. Those are real quarterbacks, but not the kid from Alabama because they have fast receivers and none of them do anything in the pros. So what is Jackson being Jackson? Who's he going to throw the ball to? I get handing the ball to Henry, handing the ball to Dobbins. Who's he going to throw to? And the defense is just going to play 9 in the box, and I guarantee you 9 in the box stops them. With Julio Jones, Tennessee had enough that they had to respect that, and Tannehill, even though he sucks, was good enough so that it made it you can't put 9 in the box to stop Henry, so now Henry's effective. You have to have balance. Show me Baltimore's balance, and you can't because the quarterback can't throw the ball and hit the broadside of a barn and hit the receivers. That's my problem with him. Is he a good athlete? Yes. Is he fast? Absolutely. Should he be a running back? Absolutely. He's not a quarterback because the defense isn't going to be scared of him throwing the ball and making, against the Lions, you got a good pass for a first down. They were fucking losing to the Lions? Really? That ends your whole conversation right there, Derek. I don't like our Bateman. Who is Bateman? Wide receiver, tight end, Andrews, Dobbins. I get you like Baltimore, Derek. I don't know if you live in Baltimore or what, but anyway, let's get back to the free pick this next weekend. Ohio State, big over Notre Dame, and USC will crush Rice. Rice, with the terrible defense, USC is going to go up and down the field. They're going to want to show that, hey, we are real. They got to compete. UCLA is a better team this year. Utah's a better team. They're going to have a big problem there, and they don't have defense. So they're going to come out and say, look at us, we're USC, and put up a 60-point game. Ohio State is pissed. They didn't get in the playoffs. Notre Dame, new coach, new quarterback, no offense. And Ohio State, believe me, will be able to score. And again, they just need a 10 spot just to win by 10. It's a pretty good thing. Notre Dame, I don't think at Ohio State's not the place to play. No, if the game was at Notre Dame, I would think twice. But at Ohio State, I'm hoping for a Miami 55, Notre Dame nothing game. Four picks next week, including a lock and a pick today. Hopefully you guys don't have problems betting teasers. My one friend, she bought and she says, I can't play a teaser, and I don't know what to tell